Welcome to the Rock You Podcast for authors, coaches, thought leaders, and speakers. Are you ready to share your message with a bigger audience and create a better world? It's time to see you, be you, rock you.
All right, everyone. Aloha. Welcome to the Rock You Podcast. I'm Ronnie Tsunami. I'm with two special friends of mine who are world-changing thought leaders and just wonderful, amazing people full of aloha. My friend John Carr and Wendy Huffman. Welcome, the two of you.
Thank you. Welcome to you.
Now, we're going to be talking about the Charitable Giving Foundation, which, John, you started. But before we do that, and I know, Wendy, you're involved as helping with an effort that's really going to raise money, a lot of money for organizations, and that's what we're here for. How do we help these organizations? So, Wendy, I really want to get your input as well. John, if you don't mind, just tell the audience here a little more about yourself, because you have such a wide, deep history, and I only know a fraction of it, other than that you retired at age 35 and have given, $100 million plus to charities in raising money over the years. But tell us more about, what did you do before you retired?
Well, I was a professional fundraiser, and I was raising money for all kinds of different charities and everything. And of course, they paid me a percentage of what I raised and also a salary. But I got tired of only being able to deal with people that had money. So I came up with a concept. Everybody is a consumer, even the poor people, people on welfare, even people that are homeless, and children and animals and fish and all kinds of dogs and cats. They all buy different products. So I lived in San Rafael, California, which is just north of the Golden Gate Bridge there, north of San Francisco. So I went out to the different businesses in the Bay Area and I asked them one question. What if I could have the charities that I'm representing send you their followers and supporters, and if they brought your product, your service, or they were a patient, if you're a medical person, would you give a donation back to that charity? Every owner of the business asked me the same question. Depends on how much we have to donate to these charities. I said, what if you didn't have to take a dime of your profit? Whatever you spend for your advertising. Now, keep in mind, back in 1974, when I sort of started this, we didn't have cell phones. We didn't have the computers operating like we do now. So they advertised through newspapers, magazines, television, radio, even direct mail. So I said, what if you only have to donate to the charity the same amount of money that you normally have to spend to get your regular customers? Well, every owner said, that's a no-brainer. Of course we'll do that. We're not using any of our profit. I said, wonderful. Don't contact my charities yet. Let me go back and talk to them and see if I can get them to send you their people. And they agreed under one condition, that we didn't have to disclose our entire mailing list to all these different businesses. Well, the businesses didn't really care. They're going to be getting additional business without them really doing much. I'm going to be doing all the work. So anyway, I got the businesses and the causes together with the consumer. I realized that if I could synergize the consumer, the businesses, and the charities together, and each one would help the other, there would be no losers in this scenario. So it worked beautifully. Well, I had a lot of mentors that helped me. You want to know what I did before I retired? By the way, Ronnie, I retired when I was 34, not 35, but that's okay. It's only 1 year difference. But I was a financial planner and also a financial advisor. I was always involved with money. Now, I went to the University of Nebraska and the University of Kansas to become a doctor. I finished pre-med, but since I grew up in a poor family, I was helping my parents and my sisters financially, as well as paying my own tuition and so forth to get through school. So I didn't go to med school. I was going to take a year off and then go. Well, I started doing so well in the business world. The president and chancellor at the University of Kansas, Franklin D. Murphy, called me into his office one day, and I wondered why I'm going in there. My grades are decent. He said, what in the heck are you doing? You're still a teenager. You're earning more money than I am as a Big 8 university professor and chancellor of the university. I said, I'm just out there working like crazy. He said, anyway, I think you shouldn't be a doctor because you want to specialize in heart surgery or brain surgery. You'd be 35 years old before you ever started making any money. And you're doing so well now. Why don't you continue? You're helping your folks, your kids, or your sisters. You're helping individuals. You're working with charities. What you're doing is fantastic. So I took Franklin D. Murphy's advice and stayed in the business world. And then I just enhanced the Charitable Giving Foundation, added a lot of different benefits. And we're going to talk about one of those benefits today. But I wanted to specialize in people that wanted to support a worthy cause or raise their family, pay their kids' tuition to college. I just wanted to help financially. I wasn't going to become a doctor.
Good.
So I wasn't qualified to do much else, but I was in the money business and I was able to attract funds. So I thought I better help people probably the best way I can. And guess what? Almost everybody needed money. Even the rich people wanted more. The poor people needed more. And the middle class average people had to generate some more income somehow. So anyway, this is kind of how we got started with the Charitable Giving Foundation. So why don't you ask me some questions that you'd like me to specifically address, Ronnie?
Well, John, before we get started, in Rock You Academy, we help transformation leaders, right? People who are trying to make a difference, change the world, create a better world. And of course, we're going to be talking about the Charitable Giving Foundation, and I'll be helping with the Charitable Giving Foundation as well. Wendy, we're both joining forces to assist. But I want people to understand, John, why even bother? Because you just said you could have been a doctor, you went into business, you were really good in finance. I know you did some real estate as well. Mm-hmm. But why bother? Why bother helping charities?
Well, guess who my first and most important mentor was? I realized when I was a young kid that I wasn't going to succeed by myself on my own. So I tried to meet people that were already successful. And here I am still a teenager, but your older, more successful people, they like to have their opinions heard. So I'd ask them questions. I became a student like Warren Buffett, where I grew up in Omaha, one of the greatest investors in the world, even still today. And I went to meet him because he was one of the supporters of the University of Nebraska, where I was going to school. So I found out where he lived. I went and knocked on the door. He came to the door. I held on his hand so he couldn't shut the door in my face, and he even invited me to take me out to his favorite restaurant. Guess where he took me? Guess what Warren Buffett's favorite restaurant is? McDonald's.
No.
And he took me there in an old Cadillac. Warren Buffett is one of the most down-to-earth billionaires you're ever going to want to meet. And since I wanted information and I was yearning, I had a zeal as a young man. And at that point, he thought I was going to be a doctor anyway, so it worked out very well. So I had all these mentors, Ronnie, but God was my first mentor. So now I'm going to get back to finally answering your question. God asks us to help others. It's quite apparent in the Bible if you're reading the Bible. So I kind of had in my heart that I wanted to help other people more than I wanted to help myself. When I started thinking about myself, I loved to play golf. I went out and played golf. I was an athlete and all this, but I spent a lot of time with these mentors, and the desire I had, I kept having my mother and my father, my two sisters in my mind and my heart. So that's what kept driving me to work harder. And I felt good. I got a lot of self-satisfaction out of helping other people. Now, I gave away more money than I used on myself. I made some sacrifices because I wanted to give every dollar that came into the Charitable Giving Foundation, which was our foundation. I wanted to give that away 100%. So I spent thousands and thousands of dollars out of my own pocket to develop and enhance and grow the Charitable Giving Foundation. But I think, Ronnie, and a lot of people have in their heart, they want to help people, but a lot of people don't know how to do that. But I learned this from my mentors. How can I help people? And I wasn't that philosophical. I had a certain philosophy and so forth about life, but rather than trying to teach something, I wanted to have something that was more, actually less abstract. I wanted to be more meaningful. And I thought that if I could help generate money for people and organizations and even businesses, I mean, I was helping everybody. because when you're giving money away, you attract everybody, not just charities. So I'm
Right.
helping individuals, causes, and businesses. And this gave me a great deal of satisfaction. And of course, I was still earning a lot of money being a financial planner, an investment advisor, a professional fundraiser. So I had my own income that I was using, and that built up an estate for my dear wife, Donna Sue, and me. So since we didn't need any more money, why should I keep trying to earn more for me? So I started giving it all away. And it just kind of took a life of its own, I guess, Ronnie. And it may sound a little corny, and I don't want to sound like I'm bragging either, but I really had that burning desire that I got from Think and Grow Rich, who was written by Napoleon Hill. And by the way, I happened to meet Napoleon Hill. We became friends. He was one of my mentors. And Napoleon Hill in Think and Grow Rich said, if you become what you think about. In fact, Albert Schweitzer, that famous philosopher, made a famous saying, you can become what you think about. So guess what? When I heard that, I started thinking about what I wanted to be, and that was successful. So if you can become what you think about, I started thinking about it. Then you've heard about affirmations, and
Right.
you keep repeating things and so forth. And all this stuff happened to work for me, but I have to give God the credit. I can't take the credit. In fact, Bob Chesney is one of the dear friends of mine, 30, 40 years of friendship, almost 50 now. He happened to call me one day because he was part of my website and part of the foundation. He said, what do you account for your success, John? You've got extraordinary success at such a young age. I said, well, I have mentors. I have a lot of people that have helped me become successful. I wasn't smart enough to do it on my own. He said, who are these people? So I started going through the list of all my mentors. And unbeknownst to me, he got together with Doug McClure, who's my webmaster and IT person for the foundation. And they put up on my website these mentors and their pictures and so on. And he titled it, Standing on the Shoulders of Giants, because he said, John, you are standing on the shoulders of these giants. Norman Vincent Peale, Mother Teresa, Napoleon Hill, Bill Bright, Zig Ziglar. I could go on and on and on and name all these different mentors I had. But this is why, Ronnie, when I thought I had a gift and God was going to use me to help improve the lives of other people, and I used to have a saying, let's make a difference. We are making a difference. So let's make a difference is one. In fact, let's make the difference is the name of Wendy's charity that I'm helping to support. So the more I tried to help everybody, the more money came, the more I could give away. And it just happened to work, Ronnie. I don't know what the secret is other than I had God as my number one mentor, and all these other shoulders of the giants that I stood on is why I became successful. I want everybody to know it wasn't me. There's no way any one person can do it on their own by themselves. This just popped my mind, so I think I'll share it with you anyway.
Please do.
They used to introduce me as the self-made millionaire. And I never will forget the first time they did this. There's like about 1,500 to 2,000 people in this audience. And I was delivering my Secrets to Success seminar that I used to do all over the country. And I said, I hope this doesn't upset the announcer, but I got to tell you, Ron, I'm not a self-made millionaire. I don't believe there is such a thing. He said, what do you mean? I said, I couldn't have accomplished this on my own. I had so much help from all these other people. So please don't call me a self-made millionaire. And I never allowed anyone to introduce me like that again. In fact, I didn't want people to know I was even a millionaire. I didn't want to brag about it. I didn't want to broadcast it. I just wanted people to utilize the concepts and the philosophy of helping other people. And I had a 7 Secrets to Success seminar that I did across the country. After a while, I changed the title. I no longer called it the 7 Secrets to Success. I started calling it the Principles for Success. And there's maybe more than 7 secrets or principles to success. So that's how this all came about, Ronnie. But I look at myself as a servant. I'm in my middle 80s right now. And as long as God continues to give me strength and energy, I'm going to continue helping individuals, businesses, causes, and doing everything I can to make this world a better place to live in. Just think, if nobody competed with each other and we all collaborated with each other, just think what a world this would be. So love is the key, I think, Ronnie, to my success. It's in my heart, and I want to share it. I want to get it out. And I like the Nike slogan so much. Just do it. A lot of people have far more talent than I do, Ronnie, but they don't do it. They don't have action. They don't have these principles of success, and they hold themselves back. There's greatness within everybody. But I think all I did, not knowing it really at the time, was I was such a hard worker. I started working when I was less than 10 years old, and I just continued to work, and working hard and effort and action. These are some of the principles of success that I used to teach. So I tried to practice what I preached, and I tried to do what I learned from Napoleon Hill and all these other philosophers. And Ronnie, it works. Thank you for giving me the time.
You know, John, I told you when I first met you, right? Eric Zuley introduced us because through Easy Way Network, we were connected. And I remember hearing you talk, and I said, I got to connect with John in some way. Because I had created an organization called I Help Charities. Literally, that was the name of the charity, was called I Help Charities. So I was like, hey, maybe we should talk and see how I can help. And obviously when we connected, and then Wendy, you and I connected as well, we're talking, I'm just like, oh my gosh. Because, you know, in Hawaii, we say aloha. Alo means to share. Ha means breath of life. In Hawaiian, aloha means to joyfully share the breath of life. It also means love. So when you say love is the key to your success, the cornerstone, if you will, I totally agree. And I was like, I don't know, because you know I don't have a lot of time. I don't have a lot of extra energy, so to speak, because I do a lot of things. However, I said, my mentor, John, is you. I want to follow you. I want to share the aloha. I want to help raise money and funds and resources, right? Because there's more than just money that helps charities. There's other resources. And I said, okay, and I'm all about collaboration. Those of you in Rock You Academy know we're all about connecting and collaborating. That's why JB Jams and all these other events are designed to bring people together. And I'm going, can you imagine what we can do together? And which is why I want to bring up Wendy. Wendy, how did you connect up with John? Wendy, you're muted, by the way. There you go.
We met through the Easy Way Network also. And I believe, John, you were at one of my events. You came to my pitch party. My nonprofit is called Let's Make the Difference. We started off offering technology, education, and economic opportunities in Africa. But it's going on 3 years, and fundraising has been the bane of my existence. Like, we don't have it figured out. It's just always a struggle. And like last November, I kind of pulled the plug and said, we have to stop, promising and moving forward with all these programs until we have some kind of sustainable fundraising plan, because it ended up we were pulling out of our own pockets and paying for it, and none of us are independently wealthy or established like that. And so it's been my desire to find a solution for not just my nonprofit, but for all nonprofits. And I thought, what if we could disrupt the competition mindset, which is what we all just said, and we're all so aligned with that, and really collaborate and come together. So I thought maybe it's events. We create events. If I can get sponsors to pay for the events, then other nonprofits could sell tickets and keep the money. What else could we come up with? I have a sweepstakes that still hasn't launched yet. I'm still having some technical difficulties with that, but same thing. People donated prizes, and if the nonprofit sells the tickets, they could keep 90% of the money. So I just try to think of it. And then I met John, and I went, oh, this is it. Like, this is the simplest idea yet. Referral marketing, where the Charitable Giving Foundation negotiates a referral fee for transactions that were going to happen anyway. And so one thing I found a few months ago was a solar business, and that was my first big aha moment, that I could be a solar consultant. I'm passionate about it. I was doing research about it for Africa, when I stumbled on to being a solar consultant, and I thought, wow, this is really a lucrative industry. It's at the very, very beginning of explosion in the US. We're like behind the world in solar, like less than 4%, 3%, something like that, where Canada's 12% or 15%, like Australia's like 30%, like, come on. So I instituted, like, I will give a $500 donation for every solar project that I do to my own nonprofit. But then I said, well, I can open that up to any charity that uses me to do a solar thing. I will donate $500 to that charity. Well, then when I met John, he's already got that system in place. So him and I have been talking, and I called him and I just said, John, you don't have solar on your website. Like, what if we added solar? You've got real estate, you've got financial services, like
Estate planning,
right, planning and insurance. What if we added solar to the website? So we've had some great conversations, and he agreed to it. So he appointed me the national solar consultant, and I'm collaborating with other solar companies. It doesn't have to be mine unless there isn't another company available or not involved or whatever. I can do it that way. But anyway, it's exciting because we're going to change the planet. We're going to change, lower people's electric bills and help them be able to budget better, take that money and spend it on other things that they need, and then also help a charity. So it's a win-win-win. So it was a perfect alignment of our goals and our visions.
And Wendy, you and I had even just had a talk before the situation or the collaboration opportunity with John. So I had already said, hey, how do I help you? Remember, we were talking about this. So this is the synchronicity is not by accident, in my opinion.
Exactly.
Right. We look at everything and I'm going, oh, okay, you've got this need. We have these resources. John has a whole organization that's designed for this, right? To plug in. He's got a network. It's funny. I was talking to John and he was just like, I know Warren Buffett. And I was like, really? I was like, okay. So we were talking about the contacts, the sheer contacts, and the fact that the organization, Charitable Giving Foundation, which, by the way, it's thecfg.org, I believe is the website. And we'll post that here as well if you want to take a look. But as you said, John and Wendy, right now, the top companies in terms of referrals, right? When people make referrals to those companies and they make a sale, they're giving up that the money that they would have put to advertising and marketing anyways is going back to the charity, the organization that it supports. You're growing that, right? I mean, and this is what we're trying to do now is, okay, how do we find more organizations that need help? And how do we find the businesses who, like the real estate, like the estate planning, like the solar companies, right, that are part of this? How do we find more businesses that are willing to take that same mindset of giving, providing goodwill to the community, helping in that spirit of helping, knowing that it comes back, right, to you, not just one time, but 10 times, 100 times more? How do we find those businesses that are willing to be a part of that model, right, and take this and change the paradigm? And John, if you don't mind, tell the story about that whole paradigm shift. And you had a gentleman that actually you had been talking to that said this changes the way we raise money for charities all around the world, not just charities, how we raise for causes, for movements, which aren't always tied to a specific nonprofit.
Right.
Together, right, John? John, you're muted, by the way. Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, you're not.
You're not muted. Sorry.
My voice is so loud it'll probably override the mute button anyway. Well, since you mentioned that, that is a very interesting story. My church, who I raised millions of dollars for through the foundation, allowed me to have my seminars in the church because I had so many people. Some of the hotels weren't even big enough. Of course, my church has over 20,000 members, so we had a very big auditorium. So they allowed me to have seminars right in my church, and I had some of my supporters bring their friends because it sounds too good to be true. Here's this crazy couple that's giving all this money away and they don't take any money themselves. How can they live? They're still rather young to not have to generate an income to live on. So I had this one individual come to this seminar, and he was an international charity consultant, far superior to me as far as fundraising. And after the seminar, he came up to me and even embarrassed me in front of some of my friends. He said, John, I just can't believe that you do this. Nobody gives 100% of what they raise away. How can you live? You live in Newport Beach, you have a nice home and all this stuff. That takes a lot of money. He said, I don't believe it. So anyway, he left and he said, I'm going to investigate you and everything. And he did. And he went to Wikipedia and they helped investigate me and Donna Sue and our foundation. He came back a couple months later to my church seminar where I had another seminar. And he came up, he said, hey, John, I want to work with you and I want to work with the Charitable Giving Foundation. And I said, Norm, I'm sorry, but I've been on your website. Our foundation is not going to pay $100 an hour just for your advice and everything. I'm sorry, we can't afford to do that. I'm wanting to give all this money away, not spend more money. He said, I don't think you understand. And this will answer your question, Ron. Takes me a while to get around to the answer. But anyway, it's a great story. He said, John, I don't think you understand. I will volunteer for your Charitable Giving Foundation. You won't have to pay my consulting fee. I said, why is that? He says, because I think your concept could revolutionize the way both products and services are marketed, quote, on our planet. He joined forces with me. He became one of my biggest supporters, one of my closest friends. Now he's traveling all around the world. He keeps me up to date on his world traveling and everything. And he's the one that got Wikipedia put me up on their website. And I can't take credit for that. Here's another case that verifies what I've said so many times, and I don't say it just to be humble. I'm not smart enough to accomplish what I've done on my own. This guy's like Norm. I mean, I couldn't have ever had what they put on Wikipedia if I'd have went to them and begged or offered to pay for it. They put my name up, the Charitable Giving Foundation name up, said we generated, I think, $1 billion or more, which we have. And it went on to say they're even still doing it even today. So that's how that story came about, Ronnie. And here's another way of answering another question you asked. How are we going to get out to more businesses that'll pay referral fees and help support all these people? Well, I wasn't planning on talking about this, but since you asked that question, I feel obligated to answer it.
Please do. Please do.
Mhm.
We have another part on our website. I have what I call 4 different pillars. We got the state financial planning end of life seminars. We got the real estate. We're going to be putting up global, and we have the affiliates, which are certain businesses that we work with. And then we have what we call certified associates. I was approached early on by a lot of people said, John, we'd love to work for you. We're not making enough money. We aren't going to be able to retire like you have. If you would set up a company, we'd work for you. So guess what? I thought the Charitable Giving Foundation needed a sales force or representatives go out and get businesses, Ronnie, that will be willing to pay all these referral fees. So guess what? I went to my charities that I was supporting. And I said, what if I could have volunteers come to support the Charitable Giving Foundation and they would be working for you? You wouldn't have to pay them anything. I would pay them. And I won't take it out of the money I donate to you. Well, the charities thought I was crazy for asking such a question. They said, if you can have individuals that are willing to work as a volunteer for our charity and bring more funds into us and bring more people to us, obviously we'd be interested. So I created what we call certified associates. They're really paid volunteers because so many people want to do what I do. They said, John, we'd like to do what you do, but we can't afford to. We're raising a family. We're struggling to make a living, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, I have a formula. It's even on my website. I was pretty good with figures, so I figured out at least 50% of the gross revenue that comes into the Charitable Giving Foundation, Ronnie, gets donated to a person's favorite cause. 25% stays with the Charitable Giving Foundation to pay my webmaster, my IT people, and to operate and run the foundation. I don't take a penny. So anyway, there's another 20% that, guess what? I give to what we call certified associates. You're a certified associate. Wendy's a certified associate. Eric and James and with us, with the Easy Way, they're associates. I couldn't expect you to go out and try to help all these charities unless you could get paid for it because you just didn't have the available time. But if you get paid for something, you can do it. So anyway, this exploded, and it's not multi-level. It's not network marketing. I'm not against network and multi-level marketing because I made millions in those areas, but charities and churches and nonprofits, it's a stigma. And if I had a marketing plan where I paid down 10 or 15 different levels, that's going to take money away from the charities and it just wouldn't work. So my concept's very simple. I pay just those who directly do it. So when you and Wendy refer somebody, you're directly doing what you do. You'll get 20% of the total gross income that comes into the Charitable Giving Foundation. Now, I don't promote this as a get-rich-quick scheme. I tell the spouses, husbands, or the wives, don't quit your full-time jobs. I know you can get excited about this like I do and like I did, but wait till you're earning enough money part-time on a monthly basis before you ever sever any other income relationships. So I'm trying to do this logically and sensibly, and so nobody gets hurt. In fact, they never have to leave their job. But this is one way, Ronnie, we get a lot of businesses because guess what? Almost all these certified associates have their own business. Or like Wendy, they have their own charity, so they bring them into the Charitable Giving Foundation. See, this goes back to that old-fashioned golden rule. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And the more you give out, the more you're going to get back. I mean, there's sort of laws in our universe here. It's just amazing. So anyway, anyone can become a certified associate. I don't charge any fees. There's no enrollment fee. There's no dues. And I train you, and Wendy's going to be helping me develop some videos to help train the certified associates. But it doesn't take much training. It's what I said earlier that you repeated, Ronnie. It's love. If we just loved everybody and loved everything that we're doing, and I changed my concept when the tsunami, and I like your name, Ronnie Tsunami. That really works great. But when the COVID thing came out, a lot of my people that were supporting their favorite causes said, now, John, my family's my favorite cause. Is there any way that 50% can go back to me? I'm the one that's generating it anyway. So I changed my concept. So since the tsunami started a few years ago, an individual now can get that 50% back to themselves. And if they're a certified associate, they get another 20%. Can you imagine going out and generating different monies coming into the Charitable Giving Foundation from all the different sources and benefits we offer, and you could end up getting 70% of that gross revenue? I mean, now I'm not bragging on it, but I used to have when I was vice president of the investment division for mutual benefit back in the Stone Age, so to speak, and they were one of the top 10 insurance companies in the world. They did over $10 billion every year in business. I was vice president of the investment division. I started what I called a millionaires club, and I had a statement: if you will follow my advice, I'll guarantee within 10 years you'll be a millionaire. Guess how many people took me up on that? Hundreds. Guess what? I only had one person that came to me after 10 years and said, John, I'm not a millionaire. I said, let me dig out the agreement, because we had an agreement that they had to sign because I wanted to make sure I protected myself. If they didn't follow my advice, then obviously I couldn't be responsible for them if they didn't become a millionaire. So this one guy came to me, said, John, I'm not a millionaire and I'm part of your club. I said, well, let me dig out this agreement. I said, here's your signature, right? Yeah. Oh, he said, I forgot I signed that. Now there's 10 different requirements that you have to do before I'll guarantee you that you'll be a millionaire. He violated about half of those 10 requirements. So that invalidated the guarantee. He and I are best friends now today too, because 2 or 3 years later, he did become a millionaire by following my advice. So this is what we do, Ronnie. We bring people in, and individuals, it's people that make things happen. I mean, if you have a business, it doesn't have a conscience, probably. It's your conscience. You are the one. It's people that make the difference. So when we talk about let's make the difference, we got to make this difference through people. And how do we do that? We do it through people that have love in their heart, that want to help other people, that want to share. And I mean, I hope I'm not talking too loud and too long, But I get so excited. I even get a little emotional about this because I can't help enough people. I feel like I should be doing more than I'm doing. But if I can just encourage people to get up off their couches occasionally and go out and put forth effort, because one of the main principles of my success formula is effort. That dirty 4-letter word called work. And I just outworked everybody, Ronnie. I think that's a part of the reason for my success also. Back to you, Ronnie.
Well, you brought up a couple of really key points, but I think just even when you first started in the conversation, taking action, right? Getting people off their couch to take action. I mean, right now, number one, it doesn't cost anything for a business to be a part of this, right? It's like, no, this is, and for a nonprofit or any individual business who's needing money to be a part of this, but there are requirements, obviously, in terms of making sure that we've got some tasks being done. And Wendy, I know you and I will work back and forth as well to make sure we define that, because we're doing the training, we're doing the onboarding of making sure, both for certified associates, for businesses, for nonprofits, and organizations to be helped and individuals to be helped as well. There's a lot there, but leveraging the latest technologies, we can, as I like to say, I'm a lazy ass islander, right? Where if I can water 3 plants with one hose, why not, right? If we can use technology to make it more convenient for people, make it easier for individuals to share this message to other businesses or other nonprofits and all the players, so to speak, within here, why not do it? If we could train them to make it so that it's easy as 1, 2, 3, why not? If we can, I mean, I've been in training education for 28 plus years, right? And everything has been about streamlining things, automating things, reducing the human error in the name of efficiency. And that was the beginning of my career. And to increase the adoption rate of new technologies, new movements, through technology. Now I'm putting people back into the equation. I took people out of a sense of efficiency. And I'm going, actually, we need people in. We need the heart. We need the aloha part of it to actually work in tandem. So now it's my second half of my career is in that. But people need to have the desire to help others. As I say, I help those who help others. Hence, I help coaches, speakers, authors, transformation leaders, right, to get out there. But it doesn't have to cost you money to help others. People think, I don't know if I have the time for it. I don't know if I got if I got to spend the time to do something, it's time is money, and I can't help others. John and Wendy, for two, is it my imagination, or because the more I help others, it seems to me like I actually get paid more. Not that I expected, but I actually get more back than I think.
I think that's a very good statement.
So, okay, John, obviously the Charitable Giving Foundation, like I said, Wendy and I are working together to help accelerate this tsunami style, right? Go big, go fast.
Yeah.
I already am like, I don't have to talk to my partners in Rock You Academy, because I'm like, wait a minute, we should be one of the businesses, right? Providing, because we help people to build coaching businesses, to monetize their expertise, right?
Yeah.
All right. So we'll need to talk about that. There's obviously a number of other people that could do the same. What would be your, and John, you and I have had conversations about this. What is your dream? What would you like to see happen within the next 3 years? Even the next year, 2023. It's right around the corner. What do you want to see happen in 2023?
Well, as most of you are aware, if you watch the evening or daily news, our country is becoming a little bit more divided than ever politically. There's religious strife, there's political strife. And you say, if you want to get in trouble, just discuss religion or politics. What I'd like to see happen, Ronnie, is to go back to the old-fashioned days where I grew up. I did most of my business in the beginning on a gentleman's handshake. We didn't have any written contracts or anything, but integrity and honesty was the rule of the day. I came from a little farm community in Northwest Missouri. Maybe that was the ethic, and that was maybe more of middle America. But I would like to see in 2023, people put aside some of their differences. We have racial differences. We have religious differences. We have political differences. But guess what? We're all human beings. And I like what Wendy's got right behind her head on her wall. It's another four-letter word that I like a lot too. It's just LOVE. If we can combine love with work, Ronnie, and to answer your question, I hope I'm still here to see one of my dreams come true, that instead of fighting and competing with one another and clawing and scratching and backstabbing and gossiping, if we could just embrace each other, forget some of our differences, respect the will and the differences that we have, and just collaborate and work together. Ronnie, if we could affect this, and I mean, I don't think I'm the guru or the person maybe to do that, but I think the Charitable Giving Foundation is a walking, living, almost 50-year example of what love and helping each other and collaboration is all about. We have this proof right in front of us, and here we can do this. And I love what you and Wendy have said and what you're saying. You're coming aboard of something that's already working, that's already here. We don't have to reinvent the wheel, so to speak, Ronnie. And if we can just, and I think everybody down deep in their heart, I don't care how much different they are politically or religiously, down deep in everybody's heart, if they go down deep enough, maybe, there's love there. They want to help. They love their families. They love their children. All we have to do is look at each other as brothers and sisters and just remember somebody was our parent. And everybody has a parent sometime or other. And so my dream, Ronnie, is just everybody coming together, working together, solving our problems, solving our differences, and just let everybody kind of go their own way in their own separate ways that might conflict with everybody, but everybody working together, not just financially, because there's other benefits. The Charitable Giving Foundation has helped a lot of people physically, mentally, spiritually, religiously, emotionally, in many cases even. So I just want to be an instrument. I want to be used. I always say, use me, but don't abuse me. And I know I've been abused, but I don't mind being abused by people because everybody needs a little bit of money. And it's none of my business if they use it for real purposes. But if I can just give it and share it and give of my heart, Ronnie, that's some of my dreams. I hope that you guys will help me make those dreams come true. I can't do it alone. God bless you all.
All right, John. Thank you very much. Wendy, thank you for your help as well in being a part of this. I know we have Wendy, you and I have had discussions, big dreams as well. Idealistic, I suppose, at times, right? Collaboration, peace, love, and harmony, peace, love, and joy. And about why not?
It's
Why
the
not
journey,
dream? As you said, John, right? If you become what you think. And I'm like, oh, I'd like to think aloha then. I'd like to think love. I'd like to think peace. I'd love to think collaboration. That's where I'm going with this. So I'm looking forward, John, to making your dream come true for 2023.
And can I
Yes,
just
please.
add something that John said? It's just in case people get the wrong idea. John is not writing checks to people. It's a referral for work that is done. So this is like we're connecting people to services that there generates a referral fee for that. So I know part of my nonprofit, Let's Make the Difference, is about teaching people to fish and finding economic opportunities for them. So it's not like, don't call John tomorrow and say, I need money, right? It's kind of like, right, that's what happens sometimes. It's how can I earn it, or what can I do to facilitate these referral commissions that then come back to me, to be a paid volunteer. So that's really simple. You go to the website, thecgf.org, you fill out the agreement to be a certified associate. And then we're going to be contacting you, and we're in conversations, Ronnie, we're going to talk about this, about setting regular meetings for training for people and videos, Q&A times so that people can get their questions answered. And then it's go tell your church. Do you know that there's these financial seminars to teach people about financial responsibility? Get your will done. Look and see if a trust is going to be beneficial for you. Maybe you need to get life insurance, right, and protect your family. And then those services generate a referral. And that referral commission goes to the Charitable Giving Foundation, which then he turns around and writes a check to you for that. So just to be clear, this isn't like a handout. It's something that if you see the vision and you get committed to it, you can help your church generate their building fund, for crying out loud, right? How many churches have a dream of having a building fund and they're just asking for donations for it? It's like, just let's have a free seminar and let's see how many people we can protect by getting a will in place, right?
There's all of those, as you said, those services, there are services we're talking about, and there's more companies that have things that can participate in the same model.
Yes.
And we're like, okay, that's where it's a combination of bringing together business, because we always say support the local economy. Right, we can support the local economy, and we can support the local people in the community. Okay, with that economy, then it's a win-win situation, and the people who are the certified associates, right, are also for their referrals, whether it's from an individual standpoint or the organizations that need help, or the businesses that are willing to participate and give a referral commission. In essence, it's what it is. It's a win-win situation
all the way around. And
win-win-win.
Yeah, win-win-win. And it doesn't happen without the end. It's like the certified associates are the engine, right? Pulling this thing along. We need people to tell churches like, this is available to you. And we need people to follow up with them and help them implement it, right? Make sure the videos went out, make sure that there's follow-up, and, communicate like a point person to negotiate, or not negotiate, it's not the right word, but to communicate, what's going on, and how can we help? So the certified associate it's beautiful. And so the way that it works, like Ronnie, anyone today that's listening or watching that is interested and goes to the cgf.org, Ronnie Tsunami is the person who referred you. We're here on your podcast. You're referring people right now. So it's like, and they get to work with you on what we're creating on that. And so it's your platform, and that's the way that it works. And they can do the same thing. They can share with their church. They'll get commission on that. You get a little part for introducing them and putting John and I on this podcast. It's just it's win, 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 just like you said. So it's,
we'll have the link there, Wendy. And like I said, you, me, and John, we all three have a pretty big vision, right? Obviously, John, you're kind of the point man, and that we're following your vision too. But I think Wendy and I also believe in that whole love and just a different paradigm shift here in terms of how we look at business. And so let's do this. Well, we'll have more conversations. Obviously, we'll do more. Invite everyone. Visit thecfg.org. Look at the certified associates. Sign up. It's free to apply there. If there's a referral, just say Ronnie Tsunami sent you. But the fact of the matter is, I don't care. I want to make sure at the end of the day, we need to grow an army of people willing to share the aloha.
And we're here to support. That's what's important, is that we're here to support them.
Yeah,
so that
exactly.
They know. And
right.
My late husband Bill used to say, if your dreams aren't so big that people think you're crazy when you share, you're not dreaming big enough. So I think we're there. I think that we can dream big enough so people look at us and think you're crazy, and we'll just say, yeah, we're right on track.
I got some ideas. I'm launching another streaming TV channel. So which be a Transform Your Life TV. So there's a couple opportunities here. So Guys, thank you so much. John, Wendy, I really, really, really appreciate you spending your Sunday here with me. John, you were just at church right here.
Can I,
So
can I
I love
say
it.
something in closing?
Please, John.
I'd just like to thank you guys. You are so articulate, and I'm not saying this to be, again, overly humble, but I've been able to bring people aboard the Charitable Giving Foundation like you guys, who are much more articulate and who can explain this concept even better than I do. And I just want to thank you because I appreciate you. I realize that what you are and other people like you is going to make these dreams come true, Ronnie. And like Wendy said, if we can just develop an army of certified associates and educate them and train them properly, and all they have to do is go out and share a concept that everybody has lying dormant in their hearts. And once they start doing it, notice how excited Wendy got as she's talking. And this isn't me that got her excited, it's the concept. The concept is universally accepted by every religion, every political party, every human on this planet should be attracted to the concept. Because as you're helping other people, I'm going to end with a famous quote from Zig Ziglar. In fact, he told me he's going to make it famous. He came to some of my seminars and he heard me say this, and he said, I want to borrow this because I'm going to become famous and I'm going to write books. And he did. And he said, I'm not even going to give you the credit for it, but I love your statement that you make. And that's this: if you help enough other people get out of life what they want, you will automatically get out of life what you want. So if we can just turn billions of people on this planet in that direction, and like Wendy said so well, it's a win-win-win situation. Individuals win, charities, causes, and businesses win. There are no losers. And anyone that's involved with the Charitable Giving Foundation is a winner. And I want to thank you too for allowing me to come on here and expodiate and everything and exponentially talk about what is everybody's heart and dream. Thank you, Ronnie.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Wendy.
You
Thank you, John. Thank you, John. Appreciate it. Thanks, guys. Thanks for listening. And we hope to see you on the other side. We hope you join us.